And to all, there it is. Welcome to Stephen Ledoux, and welcome to everyone who, whether they're here in our congregation or if they're online watching, you are welcome here. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person and the interconnection of all of us together. Wherever you are in your life's journey, you are welcome here. If you are joining us for the first time, we invite you to stick around and talk with our new Reverend Tina after the services. If you are watching online, please sign our virtual guest book. There's a link to the book in the notes below the video. Everyone is invited to the fellowship after the service for refreshments and conversation. Again, welcome. We're glad you are here with us. Before we start, since I've been working several new jobs after retirement, let's take 3 deep breaths so we can get centered, as well as me, and we'll begin service. So we'll now have our chalice lighting, and we have a Carter who's going to be doing our chalice lighting. We're doing things different today, so bear with me. Some learning going on back there. Please, perfect. All right. Let us begin to worship. Into this home, we bring our hunger for awakening. We bring compassionate hearts, and a will towards justice. Into this home, we bring the courage to walk on after hard losses. Into this home, we bring our joy and gratitude for ordinary blessings. By our gathering, we bless this place. In its shelter, we know ourselves blessed. Let us open our minds and our hearts to one another as we gather for worship on this beautiful, foggy morning. Let's see. All right, please rise and stand for our hymn and remain standing for our affirmation. For our affirmation, love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, serve to hold freedom, to serve life in fellowship, to end all souls. Thus do we covenant with each and with all. Please be seated. A few candles have been lit for several things to recognize and honor and remember. First, we should remember our firefighters all over our state and the other states, but keeping our firefighters safe and remembering about the fire in Ledoux and those residents who are suffering and have lost quite a bit. There's a candle light lit for prayers for people dealing with mental health struggles. And we have a prayer for travelers today. I also would like to say for those who did not share, let us have a moment of silence for words that have not been written or spoken, but let us share a moment of silence so we can reflect our joys and sorrows, whether spoken aloud or quiet within. Our meditation and prayer is we pause in the stillness to rest for a moment, to quiet ourselves so that we can feel what stirs within us. Each breath draws us closer to the pulse of life and makes room for something new. May we find in this gathering the comfort of those who care. May we encounter patience along our growing edges and compassion in our most tender spots. Here, may we find the inspiration and encouragement we need to face our challenges and nurture ourselves. And in the presence of suffering across the globe, may we redouble our efforts to practice kindness where we are, with the hope that the light of our actions travels like the light of faraway stars. May our gestures of compassion and generosity seed possibilities. May we walk humbly with one another, choosing reconciliation over resentment as we try to live right side. When life presses in and shifts us off balance, when pain assails us, when frustration mounts, may the rhythm of our breath steady us and bring us back to a place of gratitude. Please remain seated. And now we'll have Reverend Tina DeYoe, doing her other gig.
I'd like like to invite all the young and young at heart to come forward for a time for all ages. Let's come on up, y'all. Yeah. What's up? How you doing? Yeah? You having a good summer so far? Yeah? Awesome. Cool. I know some of y'all are coming to camp that starts on Monday. Woo! Dr. Seuss camp. Yay! But it's also still Pride Month, right? It's still Pride Month. So we're still celebrating Pride. And today, our speaker, Stephen, he's going to talk about the science of love, right? So that's pretty cool. So we remember that Pride Month is about love, right? And so today we're going to talk about being love and having this heart-centered meditation. So everyone can do this heart-centered meditation this morning with us. So get comfortable in your seat where you're seated, okay? Put your hands on your heart and close your eyes or look down and begin to breathe slowly in through your nose, directing breath to your heart. Imagine with each breath that you are lighting up your heart with a warm, bright light. Keep breathing. Notice how that feels, how your heart feels. And as you continue to breathe, think about a time when you felt completely loved and safe. Keep breathing. It could be a time shared with a parent, a pet, a friend, a teacher, or a kind gesture or word that made you feel loved and safe. So notice now how your heart feels. And let that feeling travel through your whole body. One more deep breath. Breathe out. And now you can slowly open your eyes if you want. Safety to everyone that surrounds you too. All right, so remember to do that as we love one another this Pride Month and always. And at our intention table today, we have messages of love. So you could write a message of love to someone and then cut it out and hand it to them. So you could do that. And there's some other love activities over there as well. So enjoy. Thanks for coming up, y'all.
For millennia, speakers and writers have treated love with pleasant, helpful, even poetic variations on wide-ranging, subjective themes. Meanwhile, the very notion that natural science might objectively say something meaningful about love has been dismissed as probably impossible and possibly insulting. Yet a closer look reveals that ignoring what science says about love leaves humanity without some inputs that help individuals and society better understand and appreciate love, while also solving some problems. Due to superstitious influences across history, many past sources addressing the topic of love have taken love as a kind of characteristic or trait. But love is not a mere trait. Love is a complex combination of several behaviors occurring together along with their eliciting, evoking, and consequating stimulus causes. Traits, on the other hand, are adjectives that have been turned into nouns in a kind of simplistic reification. How does that happen? Consider this scenario. A friend witnesses an event and then describes it to you. Their description turns some adjectives into nouns, adjectives that describe behaviors that occurred during the event. These nouns get uncharacteristically taken as naming traits, which we then take as the causes for the behaviors that occurred during the event. The original adjectives described actual behaviors, but the nouns merely name fictional causes for the behaviors, fictional because your friend only derived the noun traits from the adjectives describing the event. Here is an example. Your friend tells you that a mutual acquaintance revealed a lot of hostility after listening to an administrator at a meeting. Yet, except for listening, your friend never mentioned a single actual behavior, leaving you to guess what the mutual acquaintance's behaviors actually were. Note that whatever the acquaintance's behaviors were, the cause was not a lot of hostility as a trait of some inner self-agent in the acquaintance. Like traits themselves, such conjured inner agents, for example, minds, souls, psyches, selves, remain irrelevant to a scientific account of behavior, including love. Besides, some administrators need little help saying things that cause hostile behaviors in others. Love gets mistreated in the same way. When some people state, "He is such a loving father," or "She is such a loving wife," they are too often alluding to love as a trait, as a characteristic of some mystical inner agent inside him or her, a characteristic that someone might falsely take as a cause of his or her behaviors. But love is not a trait, anyone's behavior in relation to others, by using that single word, love, as a kind of verbal shortcut. This verbal shortcut, love, summarizes a deeply poetic, multifaceted, and scientifically explicable natural phenomenon. Indeed, the word behavior itself is a kind of verbal shortcut. It summarizes a broad range of deeply poetic, multifaceted, and scientifically applicable natural phenomena, including all the events that encompass a body's actions, thoughts, emotions, feelings, reactions. Here we begin to elaborate the details behind this single word, love, as a verbal shortcut. Love or loving involves behavior that we can understand as dependent variables, that is, informally, effects, under complicated and interacting sets of independent variables, that is, informally, causes. Indeed, love refers to a range of behaviors as effects of causal variables. Love is the term we use to summarize these complicated and usually reciprocal effects between or among people. Those effects occur because the stimuli eliciting the emotional, feeling responses we call love, and the stimuli evoking and reinforcing. Now we can begin to make some elegant improvements. You see, love does not change character simply because we consider it scientifically. Whatever love is, that is what love was, is, and still remains after we consider it scientifically. That exercise is worthwhile. Potential implications for life and living become possible from an improved understanding of love when we consider it scientifically. Sometimes, and usually long before scientific activity, astute and intuitive observation produces benefits that are inevitably consistent with later scientific knowledge. Only ever so rarely, though, will we find an instance, and be glad for it, when circumstances produce benefits merely through astute, intuitive observation. For instance, Shakespeare, or the author of his works, had no science of behavior as a writing guide, and probably shared with contemporaries some mystical notions about love. Yet he was still an astute and intuitive observer and reporter of human behavior and the variables of which it is a function. He well applied these observations in accurate, interpretive, and poetic portrayals of human behavioral possibilities, including our averages, excesses, deficits, loves, hates, faults, and heroics. Over the last several thousand years, we can gladly count a few other such well-known and relatively rare speakers, artists, or authors. For example, Lao Tzu, Buddha, Confucius, Jesus, even though they too were without the benefits that science can add. Now, here is a little about how natural science can handle love. Most simply and noticeably, we say we love someone or others when our actions make others feel good, which then makes us feel good. And we say others or someone loves us when their actions make us feel good, which then makes them feel good. This, of course, is quite overly simplistic. We can get more technical. Indeed, we really must get more technical. We may interpret the word love as referring to complex interactions of two kinds of behaviors and their causes. One kind involves respondent behaviors, that is, reflex behaviors that stimuli elicit. The other kind involves operant behaviors, that is, behaviors that some stimuli evoke and other stimuli consequate. With both kinds of behaviors, the operating stimuli can be not only overt or covert, but also environmental and/or physiological. Love refers to complex interactions and outcomes of these two kinds of behaviors and all their eliciting, evoking, and consequating stimuli. That is not too technical for a Sunday morning, so let's go further. Perhaps from biological evolution, but certainly from cultural selection, current society values those loving interactions the most when they occur between two opposite gender bodies. Should we not also value those loving interactions when they occur between two same gender bodies or among people in general? Recent published reports point out that when researchers finally began looking, which was relatively recently, they found those same kinds of relations between or among the members of over 100 other species so far, including Homo sapiens. Notably, they found those kinds of relations between pairs of same-gender individuals. From that research, at least one conclusion seems straightforward. Society pushes a very false notion with its claims that only love between opposite gender individuals is normal or acceptable. And many even insist that this love must only be for procreation, a view that contributes to much misery as well as overpopulation. From the data, as well as humane preferences, love between same-gender individuals is not surprising, not strange, not weird. Rather, like love between opposite-gender individuals, love between same-gender individuals is normal, natural, and we have a responsibility to work to help make this love similarly acceptable. That work also carries implications for efforts to help solve some global problems, again, like overpopulation. Until 100 or so years ago, procreative sex was actually a stable support of our species' survival. Today, however, under vastly changed circumstances, procreative sex now works against our survival by leading to ever higher population levels. Can circumstances change us, change society to increase support for the long and respected history of family planning, and even improve on it by allowing, even encouraging, and without religious persecution or secular prosecution, full use of birth control technologies, including abortion, and various forms of sex, including forms between consenting adults that do not produce babies, such as forms between same-gender or opposite-gender couples? We will always produce enough babies for species survival, but failing to reduce our population levels humanely leaves looming disasters to reduce our population inhumanely. Now, B.F. Skinner, someone about whom too many people have grave misunderstandings, in his 1953 book, Science and Human Behavior, Skinner introduced the topic of love with reference to its vernacular usage, where love can refer to the predictability of some particular behaviors occurring more than other behaviors. For example, we can safely predict that when someone otherwise describable as in love has a greater tendency to aid, favor, be with, and caress, rather than injure in any way their partner or other people or object of their love. First, though, we should not fall for the temptation to take in love as implying a bodily state or a state of being that then gets blamed for loving behaviors. Such states easily get invented when the impatience for an account replaces the patience needed for scientific inquiry. This temptation stems from the largely or sometimes lengthy occasions when emotion-produced feelings linger and when ongoing stimulus changes recharge those feelings, sometimes repeatedly, making them seem to persist as a state. So, what then is love scientifically? Generally, love involves certain reflex emotions with their accompanying feelings that alter the ways, for example, arousal, that certain neural structural changes mediate lots of operant behaviors in a positive feedback loop that can continually increase these behaviors and their emotions and feelings and reinforcing effects. Say, what? That is a bit heavy for a Sunday morning. Let's try to unpack it a bit. This may begin to sound a bit like the house that Jack built. All consequences that produce increases in behavior earn the title reinforcers. When these reinforcers, along with their positive emotions and feelings, occur after one's behaviors, including after one's loving behaviors, these reinforcers change one's neural structures. These small but noticeable neural structural changes make the energy traces from the stimuli that evoked the behaviors that produced the reinforcers become more neurally, functionally effective. They make the stimuli work better. This effectiveness appears in the increasing ease with which these stimuli neurally evoke that behavior upon future occasions. This easier evocation then generates more behaviors that produce more such reinforcers and positive emotions and feelings. And these generate more of the loving behaviors, and on and on. All this works with general loving responses towards others and is particularly effective with the ongoing presence of a partner, which is a common component of love. Furthermore, reinforcing stimuli also condition other stimuli to serve reinforcing functions because they reliably occur at the same time, a pairing process. In addition, reinforcing stimuli also serve an eliciting function that is especially important in love. That function involves eliciting the release of chemicals into the bloodstream, an elicited release that we label emotion, and that, as real events, produce real detection responses that evoke the label feelings. Those feelings, those loving feelings, as real events, also get conditioned themselves as reinforcing consequences, and they too then alter the way neural structural activity mediates subsequent behaviors. All these events that we are discussing are real events, and they all occur together in a complex mix that we summarize with the word love. Consider two people in love. First, on the level of their operant behavior, that is, the evoked behavior that consequences strengthen, and then on the level of reflex behavior, that is, the behavior that stimuli elicit. Of course, in reality, all these interactively mix. For each partner, mutual and automatic conditioning has made the very presence of the other evoke and elicit responses describable as loving. That is, they each aid, favor, stay with, and caress the other. In love, any sign that you reinforce the other is reinforcing to you. And any sign that the other reinforces you is reinforcing to the other. A few such mutual reinforcers include each one's repeated sight, sound, and feel of the other, the partner, and other people in general. All of these inevitably get paired with the partner during reinforcing activities, which is how the signs themselves that one's behavior has reinforced the other becomes reinforcers for the one. And when the other's behavior also functions as a reinforcer for one's behavior, which reinforces the other, then we often speak of mutual or romantic love. In this way, both the other and the one reciprocally provide these reinforcers to each other, often so smoothly and quickly as to be simultaneous, which is a part of what makes interpersonal love seem so wonderful, even magical. Taken together, the operant components of love involve an ongoing, mutually beneficial, reinforcing interaction that emphasizes evidence of each having successfully reinforced the other, with each finding such success itself reinforcing. All this supports the continuing of the mutually reinforcing interactions, often for a lifetime. All this simultaneously occurs along with all the other respondent, reflex, emotional, and feeling components of love. These all interactively occur together, constituting what we call love. So this has been a lot for a Sunday morning, but then it is an extensive and complicated topic, even without adding science to the mix. Still, now we can begin to see and feel how much more complicated and interesting an understanding of love is when we take science into account. And the scientifically informed understanding of love also helps us better apply our general love of others to solving humanity's problems. Now, other than some technical details, everything I have told you today, you likely already knew. But those technical science details carry important, valuable, even necessary implications about ourselves, about our neighbors, about our society, even about this planet that we share with so many others. Let us continue to ponder, appreciate, and apply all that love offers toward a better future for all.
Thank you, Stephen. This morning's offering is going to the Transgender Resource Center of New Mexico, which is located in Albuquerque. And I will say I'm wearing my Faith is Love shirt with the transgender flag and hashtag UU values and protect our trans kids and youth. So this organization does a lot for that transgender community, their families, youth, kids, adults, and so please give generously this morning in the offering today. So we have some announcements this morning. Our first announcement is today, after the service at 11:45, our UU Young Adult Meetup is happening. So if you are between the ages of 18 to 35-ish, you can join the UU Young Adult group. And we'll be meeting in one of the back classrooms, back in the back hallway, and have some lunch as well. And then James Carroll's comparative religion class is canceled for today. It may or may not happen in July as well. He's on travel for work. So stay tuned to your email for that in July. And then we have our UU concert booths that we're doing this summer, and Patrick Webb, who was just playing wonderfully, thank you, is heading those up. And we're focusing on these 4 dates now. Unfortunately, on the 21st, we didn't have folks signed up, so we're gonna extend into August now as well. But Patrick will be heading up the booth on the 12th and the 26th, right? And we do have sign-ups, so he'll need help, and it's pretty simple. He'll teach you how to do all the things, and you just greet people and tell folks about our awesome church, where we're super inclusive and loving. So yeah, please feel free to sign up in the fellowship hall for that today. And then we have one very special announcement that I'm very excited about, and I want to ask our DLRE, our Director of Lifespan Religious Education Search Committee, folks to come forward, and one of them's missing right now. But we have Carrie Menor, who was serving on our DLRE Search Committee, and Aaron Anderson as well, and then Renae Mitchell and revjohn and myself. So we had 5 folks serving on that committee to fill the position I will be leaving as I will be stepping into your minister role. And I am very excited to announce we had one amazing candidate. We had a couple of candidates, but the one we chose is amazing, and we're excited to announce that our next DLRE of our church is Tara Height. She is sitting right there. You can come forward if you want. Yeah, come on forward. So, yeah, come on up. So, many of you know Tara already. Maybe some of you do not yet. You will get to know her. Tara and her husband, Dave, have been longtime members here in our UU congregation. And Tara and Dave's younger kids, Jane and William, are in our religious education program here. And Tara has a wide variety of experience working with families, children, and youth. She worked for Family Strengths Network, facilitating parent groups and building up those groups. She also worked for Firstborn, and she worked with Tewa Women United as a doula. She's also a registered nurse in the state of New Mexico and has worked in this capacity in both Espanola Hospital and Los Alamos Public Schools. She also has been part of the homeschooling community here in Los Alamos and the unschooling movement. And if you're not familiar with what that is, it's an informal learning method that prioritizes learner-chosen activities as a primary means for learning. Tara has also volunteered in many different capacities in Los Alamos and northern New Mexico, this region, including here at our church. Many of you have seen she's been a teacher, she's helping out with summer camp, and has served on the Religious Education Committee. She has a love for building community and a love for our UU values. She has passions for social and environmental justice work, and as well as anti-oppression and anti-racism education and solidarity work. She also loves building connections with people across generations. So she's very excited and enthusiastic about this position. And I am very excited that Tara is joining us as a staff member here. And I look forward to all of our collaboration with her. So please, after the service, greet her warmly. She'll be stepping into this position August 1st. She just signed her employee agreement contract this morning. Woo! So that's awesome. And I'm going to let Tara say a few words. So, yay, welcome Tara Height. And thank you to our search committee folks, too. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just try to be quick. Thank you, Tina. It's a great honor to get to do this. I'm really excited to work with you and to serve in the congregation and the community. And I'm very thankful for my family because I couldn't do this without you, with your support and engagement. And I know I got to apply, but I know that this is an endeavor we're going to do together. So I want to thank Jane for your encouragement and all your wisdom, and William for thinking I'm hilarious, and hopefully I'll continue to do that in this role. And for my mom for, well, everything, and all your ideas and brainstorming and Instagram ideas, and Pop for the generosity of your time. I feel like your support will help me so much to be able to do this. For Dave, for being my awesome person for 20 years now, and driving us here. So we got here at 2 a.m. last night, so we could be here this morning. And also to Andrea Determan, who invited me to the church 16 years ago. So I'm so grateful to be here. And Tina for being a great inspiration. And our other family and friends who've become our family. I'm super grateful for all of the experience that have led to my being able to do this. So, and the kindness that I've experienced along the way. I'm really excited to take on this role, and yes, I'm super grateful to share ideas with you, and excited to work with you. So thank you so much. Yay!
And let us stand and sing our closing hymn. So let us go from this place today, remembering all of the various forms of love that are out there. Remember that you are love and we are love, and continue spreading that to everyone around you. And let us now sing our closing song, and you can hold hands if you would like.